People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, obviously, Mikel Arteta spoke in relation to his pre-match press conference relating to playing Manchester City on Wednesday. And on one hand, there's a lot for him to talk about. Obviously, we ain't played football in a minute, but there isn't much for him to speak about. Obviously, virtual press conferences with the green screen and things are potentially going to take a lot of us, myself included, some getting used to. But it's been a while since we've been able to dissect anything our manager has said, specifically in relation to, players' futures and things like that. So we might as well dissect exactly what he said. First and foremost, obviously, regardless, no disrespect to Arsenal versus City, because that should be our priority. We haven't got much to play for, but that's our match. But, we're thinking about our future of two of our top performers this season and also players. We need Aubameyang for the short and medium term. I say that because clearly he's not going to be here 5-6 years, so he's not here long term. But we need him for the present to help us build for the future. Saka is short, medium and long term. Both of them, one common denominator being, not the fact that they can both play on the left hand side and that they're two of the best performers this season. Their contracts are running out in over a year, which is of equal importance and equal concern to Arsenal fans. Saka is the future. If other teams get him, let's say Dortmund grab him and Jude Bellingham in addition to having Highland and Sancho, they're laughing at the profit they're making. Liverpool want him, whether that's left wing or left back, the proposition of being there on the clock is a great one. You'd imagine the Bayern Munichs are interested in him and a lot of other Premier League teams as well. And, it's crazy for us. Hopefully he signs a new deal. I just believe it's taking a bit long for a variety of reasons, Corona, things along that nature, dotting I's and crossing T's. And to be fair, I can't begrudge Saka or his advisors for taking a while because, he should get a respectable contract. If I was them, if I'm Arsenal, I'm pushing for a 4 to 5 year deal or a 4 with an option of a year. If I'm Saka's agents, I can't allow him trying to get a 3-year deal. Because in the next 18 months, you're going to need to renegotiate again. And if Saka keeps developing, you should do, Right now, he might get, he might be offered, 40, 50k a week, which is, Saka, if you don't want that, I beg you sign it and bring me. I could do a lot with that money. But if he signs that, cool. And if he keeps rising, let's say right now he's one of the first players on the team sheet, but let's say he keeps evolving. In 2 years, that 50k turns to 100, and that's not money grabbing. That's not anything. This is the reality of it. I'm sure Reece Nelson signed a 3-4 year deal. For Arsenal, we have to push for a 5-year. But if I'm his advisors, I'm taking my time. I'm saying, listen. If I look at all the performance of young players young teenagers around the world at the moment, there are players from overseas, you've got Turkey, you've got players like that. Gravenberch next season going to have a lovely one at Ajax. There's been a couple of other young, Highland, the flag bearer, a couple of other, Reina, a couple of young players getting first team football and doing their thing. If I'm looking around, as well as, obviously I'm not going to name all the foreign ones, but you're thinking of Greenwood of Manchester United, who, made a lot of sub appearances, but has done his thing. You look at our very own Martinelli, and you look at Saka, and there's not many better performing, if any, because he has a case of it, excluding probably Highland, teenagers performing. There's not many starting week in, week out, there's not many performing. So if I'm his agents looking at this, I'm saying, listen, we're not in a rush to sign a deal, We've got a year left. Every good performance, everything he does, because what I like about Saka, he's clearly not letting these things affect him. Off the field, he probably thinks about it, but on the field, his job is to do his job, and everything else takes care of itself. If I'm his agents, I'm saying, listen, every ace is in our pocket. Arsenal need to keep you. You're their future. If not, there's other propositions. We don't need to rush and sign a new deal. Let them come to us with the offer. And that's not money grabbing. That's what his advisors genuinely should be saying. They should be pressing for a 3-year deal with significant wages, but a 3-4 year deal. Arsenal should be pushing for a 5. So the middle ground probably be a 4. Hopefully it'll be a 4 with an option of another if it's not a 5-year outright deal. So we'll have to see. But enough waffling. In relation to Aubameyang's future, first and foremost, Arteta said, I think it's our responsibility to make him feel this is the right next step in his career. In order to do that, he needs to feel valued. He needs to feel he belongs to us and we want him. And he really needs to believe that we can take the club forward in the way we want to do. And he's going to be a key player to do that. At the moment, I'm extremely happy with how he has been performing and behaving. I have a really good relationship with him where we can discuss face to face a lot of things. As far as I'm aware, he's very happy at the club. And he kind of sounds a bit confident in relation to keeping Aubameyang. And to be fair, I think it's out of Arteta's hands. I think it's a thing where Aubameyang might look at it and say, you know what, Arteta, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. I believe in how we're playing. But looking above, the financial problems at Arsenal, you know, the people above you, is their track record since they've been here been amazing? I don't know, beyond my admiration for what you're doing, I don't know if this is the place to do it. So yeah, we do need to make. I do think he feel. Listen, if Aubameyang doesn't feel valued at Arsenal, I don't know what, because clearly, you know, the fans love him. I'm sure the players love him. I'm sure the staff love him. He's a key player. He's very humble. He's the captain. The manager loves him. Everybody loves him. Feeling valued, of course, he should be rewarded with a quality contract, because no disrespect to certain players on 300 odd a week, but Aubameyang deserves that more than him. Not that I like talking about a man's peace. So you've got to, you know, you've got to reward him with that. And the most important thing I took from that is that this is the right next step or something like that. Why? Because of Aubameyang's age. Again, I think on one hand I do think because of his age, and you get a couple of years and his potential, the fee he would go for in comparison to how good he is, I think teams will be alerted to that. But at the same time, I do also think with Aubameyang, we might be projecting teams his importance to prospective other buyers than the other way around, because they all have other priorities or going for other young players sort of thing. But the right next step, if he stays at Arsenal, of course it's because he's comfortable in London, he's comfortable in the team, he's comfortable with the responsibility he's got in the team. But is he going to win trophies here? Or if he genuinely believe, we have to genuinely make him believe that we can do something here, because his career is short. Trophies is one thing, playing in Europe's got competition is the minimum, really and truly, and he deserves to be playing in that, and that's something he probably wants to believe in. And to be fair, we know internally he said, you know, I haven't decided and stuff, but you'd have to imagine the fact that we've gone out of the Europa League and the fact that it is extremely unlikely, to put it nicely, that we're going to get into the Champions League via the domestic spots. It maybe puts things into perspective if he wants to leave. Now, of course, Aubameyang, listen, I don't agree with him getting a lot of flank for missing that shot against when we went out in the Europa. Yes, he should have scored it, but look at the defending for the goal we conceded, the second goal. Also, where did Aubameyang got us there? Players, it's going to happen. Players aren't going to be at it all the time. So he might feel personally that he had a part to play in not getting the Champions League as well, and might think, yo, I have a responsibility to myself to see this through. But at the same time, he deserves to play in Europe. So we'll have to see what happens, people. To be fair, Arteta's relationship with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is obviously of relevance. It could tick the difference, but it is irrelevant because I think it's above him personally. Like Aubameyang said, they've been in indirect discussions while offers have been made. They've been in discussions, and he said the club have the keys to the contract, to this basically, and he said the club know exactly what he wants or something, whether that's finances, whether that's assurances, whatever it is. He went on to say, well, I think in a different context, we would have liked to do things much quicker, but obviously we have been really tight with time and communication as well. These unprecedented times brings a lot of uncertainty, and things are getting clearer and clearer every day. We are a step closer to get back playing football and moving forward. He was then asked in relation to if qualifying for the Champions League will convince Aubameyang to stay, and he basically said, I think that will help to persuade anybody, but we are lucky to have a club that we have right behind us. There are a lot of players who want to come and join us, but it's not just about who do we want to attract. It's about how happy the players are that are here, and how convinced they are that they're at the right place, because it's almost our obligation to be fighting for every trophy and playing in the Champions League with this club. And that's probably what brought Aubameyang. He thought, you know what? You know, there's been Thierry Henry at Arsenal, Wenger at Arsenal, all these legends. They're a champ. They're a big club. They deserve to be playing in the champs. That probably what attracted him, similar to Lacazette and a couple of other men, bringing us back to that Europe's elite competition. But Aubameyang has played his part. Obviously, he's played his part in the failings. Like I've said, like everybody, win, lose or draw, we're in this thing together. You know, Aubameyang, in terms of signings, he's been one of the, if not the best signing of the Emirates era. He's scoring his goals. His next goal is his 50th goal in Arsenal colours in the league. That will be his 50th Premier League goal in around 70 odd games in the league. You know, he's done his job. He's done all he can. He's followed through on his promise when he signed for the club to score goals and do his thing. The club hasn't done that because, you know, you could say the same things are still there since Aubameyang came to the club. We're still needing to chop and change and get rid of players. Still uncertainties over the defence. Still don't know if we're arguably getting worse since he's come, sort of thing. We're now 9th. Obviously, there's a lot of other variables, but you get the point, people. So it is what it is, and Aubameyang's just shut up and listen. If Aubameyang doesn't want to be at Arsenal and things like that, I salute him, because you'll never know. He plays with a smile. He gets his head down and plays. You know, I'm sure he doesn't want to play left wing, but he's been playing left wing. He's been playing super sub at times. He's done the up front thing, and he's still managed to do his job. So he might think, yo, I'm doing my thing. Well, go on for the rest. And with all due respect, listen, he's the captain, so he won't be disrespectful, but he must be looking around at times and think, you know, he's a player. Same way us as fans, we go, oh, look at Liverpool, man. It would be lovely to have our own Van Dijk and our own this and our own that. Everybody that's not winning does that. The players must do that. I think, oh, it must be nice to do that. Equally, they must be looking at their teammates like, with all due respect, I just don't think you're good enough. How many of you have been in Sunday League teams and you've had to move? I left the team. I left Edinburgh North Stars to join Norseman, purely because Norseman were the winning team. The manager wanted me, the manager convinced, man. You know, he said, you know, he could be a top right back here. They're challenging for Sunday League trophies and stuff like that. I loved my team. I love my teammates. I'm playing with my boys since primary school and nursery. But it is what it is. There's trophies on the line. So by that say, how many of you have been in that situation in Sunday League? Football and professional football is not that much different beyond the obvious. He must think the same way, sort of thing, people. So we'll have to see what happens, man. He was asked about discussions. He said, we've had many discussions with Pierre, his family and agent, and I'm pretty positive that we can find the right agreements for all parties. In relation to Saka, he said, we are trying as a club to finalise the deals that are more urgent and are a priority for us. The ones you are talking about, Bukayo and Aubameyang, they are both really important, not just for now, but for the future of the club as well. And if the club has something to announce, they will do it in the right moment. I've watched some aspects that I think we can take. Oh, sorry, people. Yeah, so that's it on Saka. In relation to playing actual on-the-field stuff and playing behind closed doors and things like that, Arteta said, I've watched some aspects that I think we can take some advantage of, but I think you have to experience it. I've watched some games from Bundesliga, but when I was at the Emirates and there was no crowd and you cannot steal that energy or push or drive, the game is different. The intensity has dropped a little bit, and I think the physical state of the players is not as it was 3 months ago, so you can sense that as well. And that urgency doesn't exist anymore from the crowd, and how passionate the crowds are here in England. But we have to adapt, and to be honest, the Emirates is quite silent, so you know that shouldn't be in any relevance. It should give us an advantage if we're playing in front of silent stadiums, especially away from home, which we've got quite a few of those, because Arsenal do struggle with that. But on a serious note, you can't disagree with what Arteta is saying, especially in relation to the intensity. And I'm hoping Man City's intensity is falling off way more than ours, people. And like he said, we have to experience it. And to be fair, it's a game of football. It's a game of football. Just go out there, do the job. Arguably, it's almost of... Listen, you need the crowd. You can feed off the crowd. The crowd can give you belief where you don't believe it. By the same logic, it could also be a benefit, because there's no external factors to think about now. You're just focused on the other team. Go out there and do the job. I know these guys are professional footballers and stuff, and you know, even if Sunday League you're playing in front of crowds, but remember how it was before you turned bougie and just go out there and do the job. Simple as. There's nothing else to it. It's a game of football. Go out there and score more goals than your opposition and don't concede as much as them, and you walk away with 3 points typically. Let's not overcomplicate the game. And he said, it's been a challenge for us. It's been a challenge since I joined because of the situation that we're in, but I think we've made a lot of steps forward. We tried to change the energy that we had around the place, even our stadium, with the players and with the staff as well. And I was very positive in the way that we were developing things. Obviously, we had a big turning point with coronavirus and being away from each other for 3 months, but we've been trying to keep going in our direction, being close in contact and communication with our players and our staff, and I think we are in a really good position to move forward. We have some uncertainties that we cannot control, and we do not know how the players are going to respond now, playing every 3 days after 3 months, but most clubs are in the same position. We'll try to adapt and make the most out of it. We don't try to find any excuses. We'll go for it and enjoy it, because I think we're all missing football so much that we're desperate to get back to playing. He also spoke in relation to Pep Guardiola obviously being an influence on him. He said he was an influence on me since I was 15 years old, and we met at Barcelona, both as players. In my coaching career, my personal life, he has an enormous influence. If I have to talk about the person he is, his values, the way he has treated me, and how he deals with players and the staff around him, it's phenomenal. As a coach, I've learned so much from him. We have spent some amazing moments together, some difficult ones as well, but the experience next to him has been incredible. Tell him to let you win then, please. And Arteta also spoke about young players as well and potentially getting opportunities. He said, in our case, we have 5 games in 15 days. We don't know how the players will respond physically. We'll use them. We have some talented young boys. They're asking for chances, and I'm sure all the clubs will be doing the same. And to be fair with you, that could mean, more chances for Nelson, Maitland, Joe to show what they're on. But that could also mean, and I don't know how feasible it is, but the young players, congratulations again to Trey Coyle, made his unofficial debut against Brentford. Now, he can play as a 10. I think he's best in the 10, but he can play on the flanks. Now, you'd probably imagine the flanks are a bit stacked at the moment, but you never know what could happen in terms of game time. Unfortunately, injuries are a thing. Zach Medley's been training with the first team. I don't know if he played against Brentford. Admittedly, we're stacked in defence. You've got Marie, you've got obviously Chambers is injured, but you've got Marie, you've got Holding, you've got Louise, you've got Socrates, you've got Mustafi right now. But you never know what could happen for Marie, for Medley in that instance. He could get opportunities at left back. Obviously, we've got Saka, Tierney, and Kolasinac, but Medley could do a makeshift job there. You never know what could happen. You've got Swanson, who, in terms of a pathway, Maitland-Niles is a bit iffy at fullback. Mustafi and Socrates have been shoehorned there. Bellerin, it's about fitness. There could be opportunities for him. And I believe Ballard's trained with the first team. And you've obviously got Matt Smith, and I believe Balogun, the striker, based on how he's been playing this season, deserves to be in and around, on the bench, maybe play a couple minutes and things like that. So the young players on the cusp of the first team and those in the under-23s, keep working hard. Your chance might come. Hopefully that's the case for it, people. He spoke in relation to Eddie as well. Finally, he said, we treat Eddie as an important part of our squad. I watched him training. I was very convinced he was the right player for us to move us to the next level, that he can contribute in a big way to the way we want to play. He has been fantastic so far, and he has, man. Shout out to him, because he kept, from what I hear, he kept working extremely hard at Leeds even when he wasn't playing, and he learnt a lot from Bielsa, and he kept going. He was playing the under-23 games. He came. I felt he should have went out on loan again, purely because, he didn't get to play 20-odd games. Fair enough. People that work at Arsenal said you're staying. He said he's staying. He's worked hard. He scored a Premier League goal or 2. I can't remember now, people. And he's doing his thing. And what I like about him, watching him at the Emirates, I'm sure we played Everton and Newcastle. He scored against one, and he had a bit of an iffy game in one of them. I think he scored and he was a bit iffy. I think he was better in the one he didn't. I believe it was against Newcastle, because I could be wrong, but one of them. I was like, is this what Eddie's on now? Because Eddie's not the biggest, but he's strong. He's always been strong, but he looks stronger. Like he's there with his back to goal. Obviously, he's not shifty. He's not moving like a Guerrero and stuff, but he's throwing his weight around. He's winning the ball in the air, and I'm thinking, this Eddie, yeah? Calm, we can use you. In relation to Eddie's level, we don't know. Will he develop and become that 20 league goal minimum striker that, in the same way we're looking at Aubameyang to win Golden Boot, Kane, Aguero, Salah? Can he be that? Hopefully. If not, can he chip into the squad? Can he return a decent amount of goals? Can he be a good rotation option, first team option? Do you get it? I think Eddie's got a future here. If not, you should be getting 20-30 million for him. Pretty sure he's contracted until 2022. So you'd imagine a new contract. I don't want to say you'd imagine, because we're in contract madness already, which we've spoken about. But you'd imagine he'd be in line to sign a new deal, in my opinion. But there isn't much to speak about, people. If you want to speak about things, in relation to transfer news, Arsenal apparently want Deluded Upamecano. However, in the ongoing economic crisis, that might prove difficult, considering the North London club want to sign Thomas Partey as well. Also, Upamecano wants Champions League football. That is from Soccer Link, and that is the only transfer thing I saw. But on that note, like I said, man, we've spoken about Arteta, what Arteta's had to say. We've touched on a couple of young players. We've touched on contractual situations. So, yeah, man, the only thing left for me to do is get out of it. People, it's always a pleasure speaking with you lot. So please make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you're praying and you're keeping everything crossed for us on Wednesday against City when the Premier League returns. More importantly than that, people, I hope you're all well and safe, and I hope you continue to stay well and safe, and I would like to extend the same to your family. God bless. DG, I'm out.